students. So I'll continue with networks of module 1 in this lecture. So first we'll see what is a network. A network is the interconnection of a set of devices capable of communication. So whatever is this definition, here a device can be a host, that is it in a end system, sometimes called as end system, which can be a large computer, desktop, laptop, workstation, cellular phone or security system. So the device, what has been said in this definition, it can also be a connecting device such as a router which connects the network to other networks, a switch which connects devices together, a modem which changes the form of data, and so on. I think all of you know what is modem, modulator to demodulator. Okay. So whatever are these devices in a network are connected using wired or wireless transmission media such as cable or air. Then when we connect two computers at home using a plug and play router, then a network is created, which is a very small one. Next we'll see about network criteria. A network must be able to meet a certain number of criteria. The most important of these are performance, reliability and security. So we'll discuss one by one the performance. First I'll tell. Performance can be measured in many ways, which will include transient time and response time. Then what is transient time? Transient time is the amount of time required for a message to travel from one device to another. Response time is the elapsed time between an inquiry and a response. Then the performance of a network depends upon a number of factors, which includes how many number of users, the type of transmission medium, the capabilities of the connected hardware and the efficiency of the software. The performance is often evaluated by two networking metrics, throughput and delay. Okay, always there should be more throughput and less delay, that is a need. Okay, these two criteria are often contradictory, however. Okay, then when we try to send more data to the network, then it may increase throughput, but the delay will be increased because of traffic congestion in the network. Next we'll see about reliability. Okay, reliability is measured by the frequency of failure, the time it takes a link to recover from a failure and the network's robustness in a catastrophe, which is in addition to accuracy of delivery. Next, security. Network security issues include protecting data from unauthorized access, protecting data from damage and development, and implementing policies and procedures for recovery from breaches and data losses. Next, we'll discuss about physical structure. Okay, then before discussing networks, there is need to define some network attributes. Okay, we'll see what are those network attributes, which are called physical attributes. Type of connection. Type of connection. A network, when we see, it is two or more devices connected through links. Then a link is a communications pathway that transfers data from one device to another. It is simplest to imagine any link how is a line drawn between 2 points, because for visualization purposes. Then if communication has to occur, the two devices must be connected in some way to the same link at the same time. Then which are the two possible types of connections are point to point and multi-point. Now we'll see what is point-to-point connection. A point-to-point connection provides a dedicated link between two devices. The entire capacity of the link is reserved for transmission between those two devices. Then, when we see most point-to-point communications will make use of an actual length of wire or cable to connect the two ends. The other options are there which will include such as a microwave or satellite links can also be possible to be used. For example, you take when we are changing the television channels by infrared remote control, then we are establishing a point-to-point connection between the remote control and television's control system. Next, we'll see multi-point. A multi-point, also called multi-drop connection, is one in which more than two specific devices share a single link. So, you can see the diagram that is representing the type of connection. Okay, you can see point to point and multi point. Okay, so I have told about point to point. It provides a dedicated link between two devices. The entire capacity of link is reserved for transmission between those two devices. So you can see figure A represents point to point. Figure A represents point to point. Figure B represents multi-point. So there are multiple points. Here there is only one point. Okay. Next. If it is a multi-point environment, then whatever is the capacity of the channel is shared. It may be shared either spatially or temporally. Now, if there are a large number or several devices which are using the link simultaneously, then it is called spatially shared connection. How many users are there? If the users are taking turns, if users must make turns, then it is a time shared connection. Okay, so next we'll see about physical topology. So whatever is a term physical topology, it refers to the way in which a network is laid out physically. Then when a link is formed, when two or more devices connect to a link and two or more links form a topology. So when we have a topology, two or more devices connect to a link, two or more links form a topology. What is topology of a network? It is the geometric representation of the relationship of all the links and linking devices. These linking devices are usually called nodes and they are to one another. So I'll repeat, topology of a network is the geometric representation of the relationship of all the links and linking devices to one another. The linking devices are referred to as node. So there are four basic topologies possible: mesh, star, bus and ring. So you can see here four basic topologies possible: mesh, star, bus, ring, which has been shown in this diagram. Okay, so we are going to study these topologies one by one. First we'll see mesh topology. So this is a diagram that is representing the mesh topology, which is a fully connected mesh topology. 5 devices the diagram. Okay, 5 devices a diagram. Is it clear? Now we'll discuss about mesh topology. So how many devices are there in a mesh topology? Every device has a dedicated point-to-point link to every other device. What does this term dedicated means? That the link carries traffic only between the two devices it connects is called dedicated. Then how to find the number of physical links in a fully connected mesh network with n nodes is, to find the number of physical links in a fully connected mesh network with n nodes, there is a need to first consider that each node must be connected to every other node. Node 1 must be connected to n-1 nodes. Node 2 must be connected to n-1 nodes. And finally node n must be connected to n-1 nodes. Then there is a need of n into n minus 1 physical links. Okay, n into n minus 1 physical links. If each physical link, however, allows communication in both directions, which is duplex mode, then we can divide the number of links by 2. We can divide the number of links by 2. So, what we can say in other words is that in a mesh topology, we need n into n minus 1 by 2 duplex mode links. Okay, full duplex mode links. Then to accommodate that many links, every device on the network must have n minus 1 input output ports to be connected to the other n minus 1 ports. So you can see that every device, this device is connected to 4 other devices, this device is connected to all other devices. That means number of IO ports are needed. Okay. So the practical example of a mesh topology is connection of telephone regional offices, in which each regional office needs to be connected to every other regional office, is a practical example. Okay. Now we'll see about advantages and disadvantages of mesh topology. A mesh topology, when we see, it offers several advantages as compared to our other network over other topologies or other network topo. The first is the use of dedicated link guarantees that each connection can carry its own data load, thus eliminating the traffic problems which can occur when links must be shared by multiple devices. The second, the term is it clear? I was discussing about advantages. That the second advantage is that a mesh topology is robust. How it is robust is, if one link becomes unusable, it does not incapacitate the entire system. The third one is advantage of privacy or security. When every message travels along a dedicated line, only the intended recipient sees it. Physical boundaries are there which prevent other users from gaining access to messages. The fourth or final advantage is point-to-point links make fault identification and fault isolation easy. Traffic can be routed to avoid links with suspected problems. So this facility will enable the network manager to discover the precise location of the fault and aids in finding its cause and solution. The disadvantage, which is considered as a main disadvantage, main disadvantages of a mesh are related to the amount of cabling and the number of IO ports required. The first disadvantage is installation and reconnection are difficult because every device must be connected to every other device. The second disadvantage is sheer bulk of wiring can be greater than the available space which can accommodate. So it may be in walls, ceilings or floors, the available space. Okay. The third and final disadvantage is the hardware required to connect each link, which may be IO ports and cable, can be prohibitively expensive. So for these reasons, a mesh topology is always implemented in a limited fashion, which is the particular example of a backbone connecting the main computers of a hybrid network that can include several other topologies. Next, we'll see about star topology. So, this is a diagram representing a star topology connecting 4 stations. You can see the 4 stations which are connected to a central controller called hub. So, in a star topology, each device has a dedicated point-to-point link only to a central controller, which is usually called a hub. And these devices are not directly linked to one another. So, a star topology does not allow direct traffic between devices, which was in case of a mesh topology. The controller here acts as a exchange. You can see this controller, which is called hub, acts as a exchange. So if one device wants to send data to another, it sends the data to the controller, which then relays the data to the other connected device. Okay, then we'll see the advantages of star topology. It is less expensive than a mesh topology. This is the first advantage. A star topology is less expensive than a mesh topology. Second advantage is each device needs only one link and one I/O port to connect. Third, it is robust, means if one link fails, only that link is affected, all other links remain active. All other links remain active. So is it clear? So I was telling the advantage is a star topology is less expensive than a mesh topology. Second, in a star topology, each device needs only one link and one I/O port to connect it to any number of others. So due to this, this factor also makes it easy to install and reconfigure. Far less cabling needs to be housed, and additions, moves and deletions involve only one connection between that device and hub. The next advantage is robust, which is called other advantage. If one link fails, only that link is affected, whereas all other links remain active. So this factor also lends itself to easy fault detection and fault isolation. So as till where the hub is working, it can be used to monitor link problems and bypass defective links. Disadvantage, which is considered as one big disadvantage, is first disadvantage, the dependency of the whole topology on one single point, the hub. If the hub goes down, the whole system is dead. The second disadvantage is a star requires far less cable than a mesh. Okay, so more cabling is required in a star than in other topologies, which is ring or a bus, because each node must be linked to a central hub. Due to this, more cabling is required in a star than in some other topologies. So, okay, the star topology is used in local area networks, LANs. High speed LANs often use a star topology with a central hub. So next we'll discuss about bus topology. So whatever we discussed the previous two topologies, they describe point to point connection. But a bus topology, on the other hand, is multi-point. Multi-point means one long cable acts as a backbone to link all the devices in a network. All the devices in a network. So you can see the diagram of a bus topology connecting 3 stations. Okay, 3 stations. So a bus topology, on the other hand, is multi-point. One long cable acts as a backbone to link all the devices in a network. Okay. Nodes are connected to the bus cable by drop lines and taps. You can see the nodes are connected to the bus cable. This is the bus. They are connected by drop lines and taps. You can see here the taps. What is this drop line? A drop line is a connection running between the device and main cable, whereas a tap is a connector that either splices into the main cable or punctures the sheathing of a cable to create a contact with the metallic core. Then, as a signal travels along the backbone, some of its energy is transformed into heat. So this becomes weaker and weaker as it travels farther and farther. For this reason, there is a limit on the number of taps a bus can support on the distance between those taps. So we'll see the advantages and disadvantages of bus topology. The advantages are it includes ease of installation. That is, it is easy to install. They say as it involves, it makes use of a backbone cable which can be laid along the most efficient path, then connected to the nodes by dropline lines of various length. So a bus uses less cabling than mesh or star topologies. Then they have specified a particular example. I'll tell. If it is a star, then 4 network devices in the same room require 4 lengths of cable reaching all the way to the hub. But in case of a bus, this redundancy is eliminated. Why? Because only the backbone cable stretches through the entire facility. Each drop line has to reach only as far as the nearest point on the backbone. The disadvantages include difficult reconnection and fault isolation. Difficult reconnection and fault isolation. Then, so this is the first disadvantage, difficult reconnection and fault isolation. Second, difficult to add new devices. Okay, so we'll discuss about the first disadvantage. A difficult reconnection fault isolation means a bus is usually designed to be optimally efficient at installation. So it becomes more difficult to add new devices. Is it the second difficult to add new device. So whatever the is the signal reflection at the taps can cause degradation in quality. So the third disadvantage is signal reflection at the taps can cause degradation in quality. But this degradation can be controlled by limiting the number and spacing of devices connected to a given length of cable. Then adding new devices therefore may require modification or replacement of the backbone is another disadvantage. So it may require modification or replacement of the backbone when we want to add new device. Then one more disadvantage is a fault or break in the bus cable stops all transmission, which is given as fifth disadvantage here. Even it a fault or break in the bus cable stops all transmission even though device is on the same side of the problem. So the damaged area reflects signal back in the direction of origin, creating noise in both directions. So whatever is this bus topology, it was one of the first topologies used in the design of early local area networks. Traditional Ethernet LANs can use a bus topology, but they are less popular now for reasons. So we'll discuss about ring topology. So in a ring topology, each device has a dedicated point-to-point connection with only the two devices on either side of it. Okay, you can see the diagram of ring topology with 6 stations. Each device has a dedicated point-to-point connection with only the two devices on either side of it. So you can see this device has a dedicated point-to-point connection on either side of it. Okay, a signal is passed along the ring in one direction from device to device. Okay, from device to device until it reaches its destination. So each device in the ring will incorporate a repeater. Why this repeater is involved in a device in the ring is when a device receives a signal intended for another device, its repeater regenerates the bits and passes them along. Okay, is it clear? So next we'll see about advantages and disadvantages. A ring is relatively easy to install and reconfigure is one first advantage. Each device is linked to only its immediate neighbors, either physically or logically. So to add or delete a device requires changing only to connection. The only constraints are media and traffic consideration. So maximum ring length and number of device. Then one more addition to this is fault isolation is simplified. In a ring, a signal is circulating at all times. If one device does not receive a signal within a specified period, it can issue a alarm. Then this alarm alerts the network operator to the problem and its location. The disadvantage is a break in the ring can disable the entire network, but this weakness can be solved by using a dual ring or a switch capable of closing of the break. But however, as there is unidirectional traffic, it can also become a disadvantage. Okay, so this is considered as a active topology. Okay, this ring topology was prevalent when IBM introduced its local area network. Token ring today. So I was talking about IBM introduced its local area network called token ring. Is it today the need for high speed LANs has made this topology less popular. So I'll stop here. I'll continue in next lecture. We go through this.